Wipe your memory. Forget the polar bears. Forget the ice. 49 million years ago, the Arctic wasn't a freezer. It was Florida. If you stood on the North Pole back then, you wouldn't need a parka. You would need a swimsuit. It is 70 degrees Fahrenheit. You are sweating. The air smells like a swamp. Palm trees are growing in Alaska. Ancient hippos are walking through Siberia. And in the water? No walruses. Crocodiles are swimming where glaciers sit today. But the scariest thing isn't the crocodiles. It is the water itself. Look at the ocean. It isn't blue. It is neon green. The entire Arctic Ocean, an area larger than India, is suffocated under a thick, living carpet. This is the Azolla Event. The moment a tiny fern hijacked the ocean and accidentally hit the factory reset button on the Earth's climate. We fear asteroids. But this story proves the biggest threat to our planet might be something the size of your pinky nail. Welcome to the green apocalypse. To turn an entire ocean into a swamp, you need a specific set of disasters. Normally, oceans are salty, and land plants hate salt. It kills them instantly. So, how did a fern take over the sea? 49 million years ago, Earth's geography played a cruel trick on the Arctic. If you look at the map back then, the continents were arranged differently. The Arctic Ocean wasn't an open sea like it is today. It was trapped. A ring of continents, Eurasia and North America, closed in around it, cutting it off from the rest of the world waters. The channels connecting it to the Atlantic were narrow and shallow. Basically, the Arctic Ocean turned into a giant bathtub with the plug pulled tight. Into this bathtub, hundreds of massive rivers poured fresh water from the surrounding continents. And here, simple physics took over. You have seen this in your kitchen when you try to mix oil and vinegar. Fresh water is lighter than salt water. In a normal ocean, storms and currents mix everything up. But the Arctic basin was closed off and eerily calm. So, the water didn't mix, it separated. The heavy, salty ocean water sank to the bottom, and floating on top of it was a gigantic lens of fresh river water. We are talking about a layer of fresh water dozens of feet thick. Effectively, the North Pole stopped being an ocean. It became the largest freshwater lake in Earth's history. It was warm, calm, and thanks to the rivers, it was loaded with nutrients. Nature had built the perfect laboratory, a continental-sized petri dish waiting for life to explode. It just needed a spark, and that spark was a tiny, boring-looking plant that the wind blew in from the land. Its name was Azolla, and it was ready to eat the world. The villain of this story isn't a monster. It's not a shark, and it's not a dinosaur. It is a tiny, floating fern called Azolla. You might have seen it in an aquarium. A single leaf is no bigger than your pinky nail. It looks harmless. Cute, even. But Azolla has a terrifying superpower. It is one of the fastest-growing organisms on the entire planet. In ideal conditions, with heat, light, and food, it can double its biomass every 2 to 3 days. The Arctic Ocean 49 million years ago wasn't just ideal. It was an Azolla buffet. The 24-hour polar summer sun gave it infinite energy. The rivers pumped in tons of phosphorus and minerals, and there were no natural enemies to eat it. So, a chain reaction began. 1 fern became 2, 2 became 4, 4 became 8. Within a week, thousands. Within a month, billions. It didn't just grow, it exploded. It spread from the coastlines toward the center of the ocean like a green oil spill. In a geological blink of an eye, the Azolla took over everything. It covered 1.5 million square miles. Imagine the entire territory of India, every inch of it, completely smothered under a thick green blanket. The layer of plants was so dense that sunlight could no longer penetrate the water. The ocean beneath went dark. The algae died. The fish starved. but on the surface it was a green hell. This massive global plantation started to act like a giant vacuum cleaner, and it was about to suck the life out of the Earth's atmosphere. To grow at this insane speed, Azolla needed building materials. And for plants, that material is carbon. Where do they get it? They suck carbon dioxide right out of the air. 49 million years ago, Earth was a greenhouse planet. The atmosphere was thick with carbon dioxide, trapping heat like a heavy blanket. That is why there were crocodiles at the North Pole. But Azolla started eating this gas on an industrial scale. Billions of tons of ferns inhaled the carbon, grew, died, and sank to the bottom. Now, here is the plot twist. In a normal ocean, when a plant dies and sinks, it rots. Bacteria break it down, and the carbon floats back up into the atmosphere. It is a cycle. But the Arctic Ocean was broken. Because the surface was sealed tight by the green carpet, no oxygen could reach the bottom. The seabed was a dead zone, pitch black and lifeless. So, when the dead Azolla sank, it didn't rot. It was pickled. It was preserved perfectly. Layer after layer, for 800,000 years, dead ferns stacked up on the bottom, locking the carbon away underground forever. This was the greatest bank robbery in climate history. Azolla took the planet's heat blanket, the greenhouse gases, and buried it deep inside the Earth's crust. Scientists estimate that over the course of this event, carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere crashed. They dropped from 3,000 parts per million down to just 600. The planet was left naked against the cold vacuum of space. The thermostat broke, the temperature plummeted, the tropical paradise at the poles vanished, the palms froze, the crocodiles died. Azolla effectively committed mass suicide. It ate so much carbon that it froze its own home. Because of this tiny fern, Earth entered the era of ice ages, the icehouse Earth that we still live in today. For a long time, this story sounded like a crazy conspiracy theory. A freshwater ocean at the North Pole? Palm trees in the Arctic? Impossible. Scientists argued about it for years. But in 2004, a massive expedition called ACX settled the debate once and for all. A fleet of icebreakers smashed their way to the Lomonosov Ridge, near the very center of the Arctic Ocean. They lowered a massive drill through the ice and water, digging nearly half a mile into the seabed. What they pulled up was a time capsule, a long cylinder of ancient mud. When geologists opened it, they saw something that looked like a barcode, a layer of black mud, a layer of compressed Azolla. Mud. Azolla. Mud. Azolla. Repeating for meters and meters. It was a fossilized diary of the disaster. It showed that this event wasn't just one moment. It was a cycle that lasted 800,000 years. Azolla would choke the ocean, die, and then grow again. And trapped inside that mud, they found pollen from palm trees and spores from tropical plants right in the middle of the frozen Arctic. The smoking gun was real. The Arctic really was green until it destroyed itself. Here is where the story takes a dark, ironic turn. We live in a world built on fossil fuels. But what is oil? It is just compressed ancient organic matter. Scientists suspect that the massive oil and gas reserves in the Arctic, the ones superpowers are fighting over right now, might actually be that same Azolla. Billions of tons of plants that sank 49 million years ago turned into the energy that powers our cars today. Think about that. By burning this oil, we are taking that ancient carbon, the stuff Azolla worked so hard to hide, and pumping it back into the atmosphere. We are opening the time capsule. We are reversing the process. We are heating the planet, trying to return to the climate before Azolla. We are rebuilding the greenhouse world. And the ultimate irony? If the Arctic ice melts completely, the ocean could turn green again. The circle would be complete. Earth survived the first attack of the Green Plague. Whether it survives the second one depends on us.